Hello. 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 Yeah. Hello. No. Okay, I feel bad. Yo. Hi, Ray. Hey, Bray. Just waiting for people. If you're can't or don't want to join the panel, y'all can put your opinions in the chat. Hello. Welcome in. If anyone's in here, put your opinion in chat if you can't join up or don't want to. Hello. Type in your thoughts. No? Okay. Hello. Hey, Rogman. Hello. Yo, Cosmic. Oh. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I'm doing okay. Just been obsessing over this question for a while now. This is what happens when you don't have a life. All you do is think. This is what happens when you don't have a life. All you do is think. I feel you same. Yeah. Yeah. But also, like, I just noticed how much I don't know anything. Yeah. Yeah. But also, like, I just noticed how much I don't know anything about aesthetics, let alone, like, style and stuff like that. So, built into the human brain, we naturally prefer certain shapes, proportions, and features. But Tomcat, which question are you answering?
That's just the first time I've been on your panel.
Is it?
Oh, like the second time.
Yeah,
The first time I was quiet because so and so was yelling. That one guy is so and so was yelling. That one guy. Yeah, I'm not trying to hear some old ass niggas yelling about nothing. So like you still gotta go to work tomorrow. You still gotta wash your ass. You sitting over here thinking that it's like a day job. Like why are you complaining so hard? But hey, they love it. I love
it's
it.
a long story. It's a long story.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like just the push and pull, like interactions with other human beings, we have like certain concepts that are our own. Pull, like interactions with other human beings, we have like certain concepts that are our own and are a little bit of other people so that we are able to like work on and are a little bit of other people so that we are able to like work together. So I don't know. Some people's aesthetics is just together. So I don't know. Some people's aesthetics is just like how they can smoothly like integrate within society.
But isn't like countercultural movement kind of
Well, I'm not really
against?
attracted to nothing, so I don't know. I think I'm the wrong person for this. I find everything beautiful and ugly at the same time. So,
Not okay. Fair enough.
yeah.
But like, what about aesthetics? What do you think?
I don't know too much about aesthetics, honestly. Let me do a Google search. Okay, I'm back. How do you feel about it? I think I might need a base.
So okay, so I have a friend of mine. I think I told you about him, Jordan. Um, he sent me like an article and like a book that kind of goes into like the definition of the word. Um, so the definition they offered was some kind of experience you have with a quote unquote object. This like would include pictures on the internet or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that has some kind of resonating feeling that gives us a positive or negative attitude. That's the definition that gave me. That's the definition that the article and the book gave me.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you feel about it overall, though?
I, I, I don't know yet. I
You're
mean,
picking other people's brain to figure it out.
well, yeah, that's part of the reason why I do this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I think the definition makes sense because like if someone does like countercultural movement, right? Like maybe like emo or listen to metal music or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would have like a negative experience for someone who doesn't like those things, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
but it's still considered an aesthetic regardless. So it's like a
Oh, okay.
so. I mean, technically, you can say not to be crude, but like a person wearing rags, um, would be considered aesthetic, depending on what the person is.
Oh yeah, Kanye.
Oh, I was thinking more of like that wise old man that is like in rags because he is trying to be humble type of vibe.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, but I was thinking Kanye. I'm sorry. Immediately. $1,000 for a jacket? That's crazy.
um, Breezy, can I get your age real quick? Give it 10 seconds. And
Nigga.
okay, yeah, you're off. No,
And he's
goodbye.
out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. You need to be quick like Alan, because Alan.
So it's gonna take a lot
Um,
more longer than just a kick.
that
So it's gonna take a lot
um,
more longer than just a kick.
that's so funny. Because Alan kicks people so damn quickly. I didn't even get to blink and they're gone.
And then you said you find everything beautiful.
Yeah,
And then you said you find everything beautiful.
yeah, and ugly at the same time.
So like, so
I
you're
I
not.
more resonate with the like things on the basis of that they connect with people, and I like to connect with people on what they connect with, but I really don't care too much about like the thing that they're talking about. I don't really think it's ugly or
Oh,
beautiful.
so it's
Yeah,
like
I just find humans to be beautiful or like animals or whatever.
so it's an engagement
Yeah,
of the thing, not necessarily the thing in of
it's a
itself.
shared experience. Yeah.
I see. I see. I see. So the thing can be ugly, but the beauty of it is the community.
Yeah. Like somebody talking about, oh my gosh, my boyfriend, look at him, he's so cute. And I'm like, okay. But you're happy, so it's beautiful. It's a beautiful moment.
How would aesthetics or the aesthetic you're trying to pull off affect you?
Um, honestly, I don't know. I'm a little eclectic. I can't really put my aesthetic in a box. I like too much. I like too much.
I'm more or less asking, how does it make you feel when you have a certain like? Would you feel different in a suit compared to like a leather jacket or something?
Mm, not really. It's more of like how it I don't know. You know how like okay, like let's say you dress up for something.
Yeah.
Like let's say you dress up for a wedding, right? It would be different from like you dressing up to go like spend time with like your friends at like a restaurant. You would just dress a little differently. I feel like a restaurant, you would just dress a little differently. I feel like this like the suitability of like the occasion or whatever makes me feel different. But like not necessarily what I'm wearing cuz I really don't care.
And the same goes with your room.
Yeah. I'm learning, okay? I never decorated my room before, like even like when I was a kid.
Oh, my mom would try to decorate my room for me.
Dang. Oh, that is so sweet. You
well,
remind me of my friend.
the thing is, at least I get to pick the color of the paint, at least.
Oh
And
yeah, I finally picked my room color. It's like purple in here.
oh, well, so like, how does that make you feel?
Um, like me, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Like, how does you picking the color purple and then seeing that in your room? How does that make you feel?
I like it. Don't really know. It doesn't make me feel anything deep. It just kind of resonates in a way of like, this is like who I am. I like purple.
Okay, so like identity, despite your like somewhat indifference to aesthetics, your identity is still being shaped by it to a certain extent.
Yeah, I might have a dissociative disorder, honestly. I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. Purple walls.
Okay, fair.
So, what does your room look like?
Uh, imagine like, imagine like, well, it's too dark now, anyways. But how do I explain it? So like, imagine like three walls having like a windy bluish atmosphere, and
Mm-hmm.
then have one section looks like has like two triangles, and then ice caps like you would see in the Antarctic, and then you have on the Antarctic, and then you have on one of the other walls that hasn't been painted yet would have something like triangles and shapes, or triangle shapes that kind of look like a boat kind of
Oh, so
thing.
you have like an atmosphere, like decorated room.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then
Okay. Your wall one color, and you have a whole Arctic mountain on your.
well, the thing is, like, if I like get a new place, I would
Mm.
like to have like some type of environment where like I would have like a painting of a cherry blossom tree somewhere, right, or something like that. But but this is like when I was a kid. Like I've wanted something like a windy, icy atmosphere. And not to mention, I have like a world map on my wall, and on top of that is the globe. Uh, it's supposed to be like a nightlight globe, but it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't matter to me. I actually like it up there regardless.
Aw, that's
And
so
then
nice.
and then like I have like a Mother Mary on like the left side, where on top
Mm-hmm.
of the window. And then like there's like a dream catcher. There's like names of my brothers with my name on the bottom, with like of my brothers with my name on the bottom, with like the shapes of hearts. Bunch of stuff from school or from childhood. And then like recently I have like post-it notes of like um self affirmations and quotes, and like I have like drawings of black holes on the
Oh,
post. Last week, I think I printed out some pictures on Pinterest. Some of them, one of them is like a Pinterest. One of them is like a dark nun. Others are like a witch or like a doctor. And then the
witch,
world map. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the world map. The
witch.
world map. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the world map where the globe is on top of it, on both sides. There's one picture on the left that it's like it posted on my account, but there's a picture of a woman with like a Taoist symbology with a yin yang symbology, and then my profile picture that's on
Mm-hmm.
the right side. So yeah. Oh, I also have like a Christmas tree that I haven't put away because it's my personal nightlight, and it's a lot more doable doing it at night.
So you just have a random Christmas tree in your room.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. That's actually really, really different from my room because my room.
If okay, if you have $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 more like you have all the money in the world you can possibly have all the money in the world you can possibly have, and you have all the time in the world to
Mm-hmm.
decorate your house, your room. What would you
Mm-hmm.
put in there?
Um, Probably some succulents. I'm pretty earthy, so my
Fair.
room would just kind of look like outside. Just add a little bit more electronics, um, electronics and stuff to it.
So a solar punk type of vibe.
Yeah, I like solar punk. That's pretty cool. I'm still figuring out all the things I like though, because like my parents are very like they don't know what they like because they've been working their whole lives and really haven't are still now trying to figure themselves out and stuff like that. So
Oof, that is rough.
yeah, so my mom is less of a but it's just like I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But that's why also I love experiencing other people. Like I don't know. My mind is like a blank canvas because I really don't really understand what I like. So
That's
I get to learn from other
well, we
people.
already figured out that like you really like your room to look similar to nature,
Yeah. It's
and
also
then
because I need to touch grass, honestly. I need to go outside.
that's true. I wanted to touch grass today, but like it was raining outside. It's raining right now. Touch grass today, but like it was raining outside. It's raining right now, so like whatever. But it doesn't matter. I have my window open and it. I like the cold air, so it's like whatever.
What's your climate like? Because I don't even know where you're from.
I'm East Coast.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Like you're
like right
East Coast, but are you like northeast or?
and I think close. New York is like 3 hours away from me.
Oh, okay. So which state are you in?
Maryland.
Oh, okay, okay. I was just thinking, I was like, okay. Well, Maryland, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have friends from up there. So, but all I hear is wind when I'm on the phone with them. So I'm like, yeah, too fucking cold. Nope.
No,
I'm all the way in the south, so I'm just like, absolutely not.
it's yeah, it's like very windy. It's been cold all day. It's not like unbearable. Like it's like a like spring ish, but like up the wind temperature or the cold temperature, whatever, whatever.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
I can't do cold.
but I can't do heat.
Yeah, that's how my friend is. He's just like, yeah, I could never go to your state because, you know.
No, you don't understand. I am half Asian. I am half Filipino, and I
Uh,
can't stand the climate of that.
what's your other half?
That's just white.
Oh.
Like basic
Why you
link
see it like
canvas.
that?
It's just white. Like what do white people offer? Let's be honest.
That's why I'm just like, wow. Just white. It sounds so depressed.
I mean, I mean, like, what do we have? What do we have as white people?
I don't know. Raisins and
Exactly.
potato salad?
We can't say American culture because like everyone experienced American culture. So like,
Capitalism.
really?
I don't fucking know. Y'all cool though.
Well, it depends, but sure.
Yeah. No, I grew up like in a suburban area full of white people, so
Oh yeah, true, true. They'll probably be nice.
they're nice. They're real nice people. It's just that like so they're not. Then they're
Yeah,
not outside is like real dark. It's real dark outside. But that's cool. I didn't know you were half Asian. That's cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you've been to the Philippines and you visit your family and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
multiple times. It's like, yeah. I hate the plane ride there, but yeah, like I've met them.
Do you do it often?
Not as often as I did younger. And as I did younger, because like every year we would like for like Christmas or something, we would go to the Philippines. But like as I got older, it's been harder and harder to do that. So
Do you speak Tagalog? Does your family?
okay, so my mom can speak Tagalog, but here's the problem: I didn't learn. So my mom can speak Tagalog, but here's the problem: I didn't learn the English language until I was 3 years old. So learning languages is really difficult for me.
Oh.
I can probably pick up words, But like, if you asked me to say something in a sentence, I probably would fail it immediately.
That's crazy. Yeah.
If I try hard enough, I could probably do it. But like,
So
I
what fucks you up? The pronunciation, the verbs, the language pattern. What fucks you up?
it's not the definitely not the language pattern. Yeah, I would probably say it's like the verbs.
Ah,
Wait, no, 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 not verbs. What was
like
the
their
word?
adjectives and nouns and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
word
yeah, yeah.
placement.
Yeah, yeah. Verbs
Yeah.
are something that I can understand. The adjectives
No,
and
I perfectly I get you because like there's some people who are be like, you know what, I'm smart in like in Spanish, and it's because they'll directly translate their word patterns into English, which is like grammatically incorrect, but that's how it is in their language. I didn't know that because some people would be like, oh, they just they're just learning. They didn't really understand the language just yet, but they understand it. It's just that like the placements of like verbs and adjectives and nouns are just completely different.
right, 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 right.
That's what threw me off with Spanish because I think they used their we say the color before. Yeah, we say the color before the noun or the adjective before the noun, and they say the noun before the adjective. So that was throwing me the fuck off. I'm good with body language. I'm good with ADHD shit. Not good with languages.
Oh, so you know how Filipino people point?
No, because like I'm only around like
It we point with our
your
lips.
head. Oh, your lips.
Like we would just pucker at the something in the distance.
Just give it a smooch. That's so cute. Honestly, I wish I was around more. Like, I wish Louisiana had like a Chinatown because I don't know if we do, or it's probably far as fuck. Because I'm literally in. There ain't nothing around. Texas got everything. Mississippi ain't got shit. Then you move closer. Florida got some stuff, in Georgia, but from here, Arkansas, Mississippi, certain parts of Texas, and Louisiana as a whole, yeah, ain't got shit.
Didn't
Besides good food, we can cook. That's pretty much it.
I okay, so like I came across a video on TikTok where like this lady was talking about how um she never once went into an indigenous restaurant
Mm-hmm.
and it was like true, and then now I want to go to one at some point.
Oh yeah, because I remember I was looking at I think there was a Netflix series and they were basically talking about like schools on reservations and stuff like that, and they were like introducing certain food I've never heard of before. I'm just like, well, I had the same thought. I'm just like, well, why do I never see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're
because
probably
I like fry bread. I want to try that.
they're probably around. We just didn't know what's the word. Look for it.
Hmm. But also like probably closer to places that have reservations because they're not everywhere.
True, true.
Like they're in Texas, I'm pretty sure, or closer to Texas. I need to look it up. Who knows? Who knows? Not me.
Uh, Flippo John. Can I get your age real quick?
Oh yeah, I'm 59.
Okay.
Term beauty and ugly. I think it's an individual thing for me. Looks matter obviously because that is the first attraction, but then the rest of it is how do you do together as a person. Like my wife is my person, and once we got the physical obviously brought us together to the second, third, or fourth date, and then it accelerated from there, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you can say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I don't mean that necessarily in a religious way. Uh, I don't know. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're saying like a person's beauty doesn't always matches their personality. You have to figure out a way to see if it fits, right?
Right.
Within, yeah.
Exactly right. Your ugly might be my pretty.
Right. But you can also apply that to like art or whatever, right?
I'm sorry. Say that
You
again.
can apply that same thinking towards art or music or whatever,
Well, sure. Absolutely.
right? So if you well, the first question I have up there is what is aesthetics? Ugh, I can't speak today.
Aesthetics. I get it. I get
Yeah.
you. Uh, I think that's aesthetics is a visual. It's your first look, and then it's up to you to dig deeper.
Wow, you've just simplified a definition. But it but
Again,
okay.
I'm old. I simplify. I may die. I'm old. I simplify. I may die before this thread is over. Come on.
Yeah. So like the
You're
definition
not
that
that old.
I know. I'm just teasing.
the definition I came across was basically what you just said, but I came across was basically what you just said, but longer.
And listen, this is 2025. Americans have a short attention span. All right, I've had over the course of the last several years, like 9 teenagers. I've learned to dumb it down.
Fair, fair enough.
Damn.
But I would argue there is an importance to it, inefficiency sometimes.
Agreed.
So, actually, now since you brought up um, like relationships or whatever, was there anything about like your partner or whatever your situation is, aesthetic, like her clothes or whatever brought you in, or was it something else?
Well, to be quite honest, she's 12 years younger than me. So on our first date, uh, yeah, she was beautiful, and then beyond that, it was okay. Now, how do we build on that? We've checked that box. Now what? Because I don't want to carry the load by myself. Uh, so can we do this together? And that's what happened, and that's where that came in.
But when you see the initial look of her, did anything about her style screams her personality? Or was it something that you just thought that she looked cool in or pretty in or whatever?
No, I don't think the initial look told me anything about her personality. Not other than she did dress as a girl. When I say dress, I mean not just your clothing, but your makeup, your hair, your whole presentation as somebody who was actually on a first date and gave an actual crap to put yourself out there on a first date and give a what if this works. Let's make that first impression. That's what she did.
What? So, did you meet her on your first date or did you meet her before then?
No, first date.
Oh, okay. So, okay. When you're actually actively dating and you learn to get to know more about her, did she start wearing stuff that screamed a little bit more about her own personality?
Absolutely.
So like, what was your thoughts when you saw that?
It worked. It was more about if you want to go like for example socioeconomic. It wasn't like I was wearing Levi and she was wearing Prada, or vice versa. We melded. Levi and she was wearing Prada, or vice versa. We melded in that arena. Um, as far as the type of car she drove, matched my type of car. Her job matched my job. As far as you know, economics, everything just sort of equaled out, and you know.
So it was like the more you saw her personality, the more it was like she's the one.
Absolutely.
I see.
I mean, there's probably things I would love to say on this thread, but would probably get both you and me banned. But
Um,
like, I'll try to dumb this down. But we played a game of pool on like our third date, and she was like, "If you want to get your und, then you'll let me win." And I was like, "Okay, you win."
that's crazy.
Right? But that let me know that she was into it, not just the act.
Right, right. You could tell that she's actually enjoying your presence, and yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly right. Anyway, yeah, she was a lot of fun, and I was
So
coming off a practice wife.
oh, okay. So like, if okay, so let's say like if okay, so let's say you're so she's I didn't ask, but is she like your wife right now?
Yes,
Okay, okay, okay. So like, um, if your wife is right here, and then you're not here, what is something that you think she would say about you?
I mean, I could put my phone down and go ask her. But if you're asking
No,
me
no,
what I think she would say,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
she
yeah,
would
yeah.
say that. I think she would say that I'm in this. I've got a good heart, and I want everybody to succeed. And I will do my level-headed best to make sure that happens.
Mm.
Okay, so okay, so your first date, when you wore whatever you wore, for to make an impression, how did you feel?
Uncomfortable because it was my first date in a very long time.
Did the clothes help at all, or was it
Oh
something?
no, the outfit
No.
was just an outfit. Nah, man, I was just like, what the hell am I doing here? And then I saw her walking up the sidewalk. I put myself in a position where I could see her coming in the front door, and I just kind of asked myself.
That sounds like the story of my life when I have to go touch grass.
And so now I'm in. I'm into the date. So now I just gotta. I'm into the date. So now I just gotta do my best to try to win a second date. That's what a first date is. Trying to win a second.
So, um,
Where you're a
like,
winner.
Well, yes, I am. Thank you.
so like, as like the dating progressed, did you start wearing your personality, the clothes that screams your personality, or whatever it is that you were going for?
Well, at that time when we had this first date, and I was several date, and I was several years out of my first marriage, I got super into uh, things like golfing and the gym because it was a deflection. I could find things to do that could distract my mind, and I didn't want to put out the gym thing. So the only other thing I had was the golf thing, as far as attire. And she didn't like that not at all. But she'd come in, and we're near the Kansas City area, and she came in a V cut Chiefs t-shirt, and she did squeeze her elbows together on her front and bend over just a little bit, and I couldn't get my eyes off of it. And she caught on to that, and we did have a really big kiss
Oh,
on
she's a
our first.
flirt. That's so cute.
Yeah, she was a super flirt, and she took the lead on that first kiss. And I grabbed it when she put it out there. I grabbed it, and then the rest is what it is. Yeah, it was great.
That's so cute.
So, is there any attire that you could wear like right now that makes you feel like king of the world?
Yes.
Ooh.
Uh, Workout shorts, a t-shirt, and running shoes. Just, I mean, that's what I got on right now, and black socks. And sometimes the black socks match, sometimes they don't. It doesn't really matter. Uh, yeah, it's just me. I feel like I've already won, so it doesn't matter.
I see. I
Mm.
see. So like, I assume you share a room with your wife.
Oh,
So like,
absolutely.
how do you guys like go around decorating the room?
Our bedroom? Well,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
put long curtains. We have windows, obviously, on the south side and the east side of the room, and we put the long blackout curtains on that, and we got the big king size bed, and there is a TV on the wall, and we each have our nightstand, and we each have our lamp, and every day is a different mood. Sometimes it's sleepy mode, sometimes it's sexy mode, sometimes it's I got a bad day today, so I'll just tell you about it and I go okay, or vice versa. Every day is different.
So you get to have a little bit of a novelty with
Every day.
yeah,
Every day.
nice. And then like, how would you guys plan this out? Right, plan on like the
We don't
aesthetic.
plan.
You don't.
Every day is different. You can't plan. We're talking about I have an older kid, she has a couple kids, and we have foster kids, so there's nine altogether. We don't plan anything. You just take advantage of what you're given.
So it's kind of like a spur of the moment with opportunity.
Every day is. Exactly. Opportunity is golden.
No, I can't argue there.
And to be frank, she is aggressive in that opportunity mode. And I'm just saying, all I can do is embrace it.
Fair
Never
enough.
look a gift horse in the mouth. So,
So I think I ran out of questions for you.
no,
um,
I understand. I've said a lot.
He
uh,
won, y'all, so there's nothing to
yeah, yeah,
ask.
yeah. He won. So
Yeah, I mean, she's right in here somewhere. She hollered
Paichi.
on the last time I did a live. She was like, "What are you saying about me?" I
Paichi.
said the truth.
So, Paichi, what are your thoughts on the topic or the conversation?
I didn't catch too much of the conversation, so
It's
I don't really have the context for it. But like, I was just curious, like, what are your thoughts, like, in respect, like, or do you have an angle with these, or just like, what do you mean by aesthetics? And
well, I mean, in terms of
you talking about
like
romantic
no, no, no,
aesthetic?
no. Well, no, 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 no. It's more in terms of like art. I was just trying to weave that together.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, like with aesthetics, I came across an article that Jordan gave me. If you don't know if you don't know him, you can probably look up Light of Reason, and then on YouTube, he
I've
probably
been on a
released.
panel with you and Jordan a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
million
yeah,
times, Jester.
yeah.
Just
Basically,
teasing.
okay. So he gave me the article that gave me the definition, where it's like any experience with a quote unquote object, the word is being used loosely there,
Mhm. Right.
that gives either a positive or negative experience.
We talked about all that.
Yeah. So, um,
I'll be in a minute.
Clive Bell. Um, he's an art theorist, and he has this notion called significant form. And significant form is like any form that like evokes like like what he calls aesthetic emotion. So it's like any form that, yeah, elicits. emotion, essentially.
Right, right.
The,
That sounds like similar to the definition.
yeah, that's why I brought it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different ways to look at it. I read lot on aesthetics when I was in grad school because I went for an MFA. So, um, there's there's a whole bunch in respect to art. There's just so many different ways to like view it. There's like memetics. So like people are creating objects that mime nature. Um, there's like abstract takes on it, such that you reinterpret nature as a language, as a visual language. So you're informed by the aesthetics of nature, but you're reinterpreting it as a new visual language. There's a lot of different ways to look at it.
That's, I see. Um,
I don't think I'm a. I don't know if I'm like a realist in respect to aesthetics. There in to the respect that to the extent that I'm a realist in respect to aesthetics, I think it's like usually tied to like other things, like other like evolutionary properties and stuff.
I see. So like in terms like in terms like we evolved in order to see certain things as like emotional gratifying or not.
Yeah,
Like
or
rain, like right now it's raining, it makes me depressed or happy, whatever, right? Something like that.
right,
It makes me sleepy.
yeah, and it's like say the rain like depressed you or something, or say you found the rain beautiful. Like, is that indicative of the aesthetic form of rain, or is that indicative of other aspects of how it creates verdant growth and how it gives life, how it's life sustaining, um, things like that. And like say something like symmetry. Like, is it the actual visual form of symmetry itself that people find appealing, or perhaps it's related to like other associations, uh, structure, like containment. Things that are symmetrical might have certain sort of structural integrity to them, or things like that. Like, so to the extent that I'm a aesthetic realist, it would probably be informed by other things rather than just saying like the form itself is like objectively beautiful or something.
This is all the similar take you have with morality.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so what about like my second and third question? Like, what is beauty and how do we determine that? Like, or did you answer that already?
Yeah, I don't know. Beauty. Yeah, I don't know how I would define beauty. It's because I'm so particular,
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm so particular in respect to context.
Yeah, I have too much brain rot. I like you have a cupcake is how I identify beauty.
How do you define it?
I like you have a cupcake.
I like you have a cupcake. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's just like I don't know. It's like intensity could be beautiful to me. Cacophony, like I don't know, like things that like it's like I love like I'm a metalhead, and I listen to fucking like bands called like Inhaling Intestinal Putridity, and like shit that would give most people a headache. I find beautiful because there's like an intensity to it,
Oh.
and it's
That is different.
and but if I wasn't in the mood for that, I wouldn't find it beautiful at all.
Mm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm playing The Last of Us, but I'm hungry, so I can't eat and play the game because there's too much gore.
Now that I think about it, and then this is literally why I do this instead of like hardcore debates because comes up with certain ideas about myself. Um, I think for me it depends on certain ideas about myself. Um, I think for me it depends on the medium. Like if it's like an anime or TV show or a movie, it has to be like some type of deeper philosophical, sociological, whatever the fuck context. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to engage with it meaningfully. And
Right.
I think
Same.
part of it is because as a kid I watched what's it called, the Matrix and the Batman trilogy, and I watched that when I was like 10 or 12. So I think part of it is that reasoning, and also I watched like so I wouldn't be able to engage with like shows or movies without that vibe, and I wouldn't like a show or a video game or whatever if no one's telling me the deeper lore about it, right? Like, I didn't get interested into Metaphor with Fantasio until someone told me about what the message was, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it without having that context.
You have to have a certain level of mental stimulation in order to enjoy something.
Yeah.
Yes, but the thing is with music is different though. Like I don't need that mental stimulation. I just need to have a certain emotional reaction for a given situation. Maybe I need to process my issues. Maybe I need to have some fun. Maybe I need something that just makes me lose my mind.
I get the
I
sense that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard you on Rod's panel a couple times, and the songs you pick tend to be a little more like simple in respect to like, they tend to be like have like a kind of a
Like they're
like a
straightforward. They're not
like
very
a
technical.
like they tend to have a like kind of a I'm not saying they're like pop music, but they tend to have like a pop sensibility to them, like a sort of like excessive,
Oh, okay.
like
Yeah,
an accessibility to them.
I tend to listen to like alternative music, but
Okay.
but um with pop music a little bit, but it has to be, well, it doesn't have to be actually, but like I often appreciate complexity a lot.
Oh, okay. So I was
So
wrong.
like
Yeah.
for example, my favorite singer, King Mala, she incorporates like a lot into her music. Like she has a mixture of like it's like a it's hard to explain because I don't want to be wrong for the most part, but she herself has talked about the bit about saying like it's a little bit alternative, but it's also like have like soul music in there as well. So like I tend to appreciate complexity. But I also like songs that help me process things. So like Hearts and Colors by Lion. Um oh no, did I say complexity? Help me process my shit. So that one helped me to be okay with whatever situation I'm in because that's what the song is about. And then sometimes I kind of like listening to songs that gives me a sense of control, which is like King Mala, Cult Leader, or like um I forgot, but you can be king again. I forgot the rest of the lyrics, but it's a song about like being a king again or whatever, right? So like it gives me a sense of control, also helps me process my emotions, and also like allows me to because alternative music kind of makes me feel like I feel I can't I feel the way a person who smoke grass would feel, if that makes sense.
Um, so it's like an emotional high.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but
Yeah, I
what
tend to. Oh, sorry, you go. Whoever.
and then the final medium is like maybe like painting or art, and then that would be like varying degrees depending on how I feel.
Yeah, can you be so I'll use yeah, can you be so I'll use and I'm clarifying just so you know where I'm coming from because like I have like an art vernacular or whatever, but
That's
so
fine.
like formal stuff, and by that I mean I'm referring to like just like shapes and colors. So like that would be like the formal aspects of art. Would you be able to like have something that is just like sort of like visual in that respect without being like necessarily representing something? Would that elicit emotion in you, or do you need to have like actual figures represented, or other some other aspect of like representation like represented? Or
So
yeah.
if there's like minimal representation, all that's going to do is going to have me curious.
Okay.
And that's going to make me want to know exactly like what is this supposed to make me feel and trying to figure out like a little puzzle I have in my head. So it
Yeah.
would be like intellectually stimulating, right? But if it's a picture of a figure, it would be but but like it but like but like it but like it has to be fit into a certain kind of theme for me or something that is uh something that I just find pleasing to look at. Like I
Like
said,
Yeah.
aesthetic.
yeah. Um
Interesting. Yeah.
but
I
like But I came across some pictures or art where like it has like some figure-esque aspect, but it kind of melds within the environment, and I find that I find that combination interesting to me because I see the shapes, but I also see the shapes being melded with everything, and it makes me want to know more as well as knowing what's there, knowing what's there. So it's like I said, I appreciate complexity.
yeah, I mean I gravitate towards like I like a lot of complex things, and even when I like, and then I also gravitate towards some aspects of representation. Gravitate towards some aspects of representation. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I like a lot of surrealism, so it's representational, but it's sort of like an amalgamation of representation versus something straightforward or whatever. But even when it's just formal, when it's just like shape, color, line, and abstracted, I tend to gravitate towards pieces like that are still doing something complex in how it's arranged. So maybe the shapes are simple, but maybe they're doing something compelling or complex with how they're using color theory. So maybe they're creating certain types of like visual anomaly, like with the color, like optical illusion anomaly, like with the color, like optical illusions via color, or some sort of like recession and advancement just based off of like hues. So like in color theory, you can do things like it's called like simultaneous contrast. It's like where you could do something like, this is just an example. This is not all simultaneous contrast, but it's like an example would be like, say you had like two, but each of those squares had a different color inside of them. Given that different color, it might like change the outer color, or vice versa. Like say you had two different outer color squares, and then the inner colors are the same, and based off the outer color, it makes the inner color appear different, even though the two inner colors are so like things like that could be like simple in shape, but it usually has to be doing something compelling with color if it's simple in shape, like compelling with color if it's simple in shape, like
Right, right, right.
I'm not like typically into just you know, one large hue, like, like, you know, one large hue, like, like, just one large orange, flat orange square or something,
For me, like if it is like an object or something, for me it has to like fit into I just need the underlying context of
Yeah,
what
that's
that
kind of how I
is.
am too.
Like for
Especially with like clothing.
mhm.
Yeah.
Like for example, like my profile picture, right? Um, that is like in a what that is a picture that was done by an artist. However, it's within context of like the full tarot card, right? And the full tarot card, right? And ever since I learned about Persona 5, I've been obsessive over Carl Jung archetypes and tarot cards. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
um, yeah.
yeah, that's actually really cool. Yeah, I'm like that too.
Or just have like a beautifully drawn woman on the picture. I like
I don't know. I feel like I follow like with beauty more of like the essence of it and like what it means and like how it resonates with like things that have nothing to do with me than it is like how I perceive it.
yeah.
Yeah, I love beauty that's like don't touch it or you're gonna ruin it. One having like a flirty personality versus someone flirting with you.
I'm similar with like aesthetics as to how I would like desire different like types of food. Like I music and art is similar to me in that way. Like I'm not like I wouldn't, if I had something that was salty, I wouldn't wash it down with like something salty right afterwards. like, like and I'm similar in the same respect with like music and art. Like I don't want to be tasting the same art all day long.
Is
Like
this the woman you were talking about? Loki.
What? Oh no! Like I have like plenty of pictures of women posted on my account. You probably can see them.
Yeah,
Can see them.
yeah.
I have to switch around the words, but I guess it's fine for now. So, how does environment affect aesthetics?
how does society affect
Why are
aesthetics?
you giggling?
These are good questions, man. Because like again, like this is what I was getting at with like associations in respect to aesthetics versus maybe the forms themselves simpliciter.
Mm-hmm.
Like what society dictates in respect to like how we make certain like relations to certain forms versus the form itself.
So, well, but okay. So, how does countercultural movements fit into this, like emo and alternative and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So take something like this is good like in respect to society and like so take something like punk rock music. Um you might like associate it with like skateboarding or something. And then you might also associate skateboarders with like other misfit antics. So the music in itself is maybe not existing on its own. You're making other associations with it, or you're making associations with like, it's like maybe punk wouldn't have a certain.
Does that bleed into like stereotypes?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And this is why it's like, I think it's hard to gauge aesthetics like simpliciter without like the other stereotypes and relationships and societal
So when
dictates.
I think of emo, I think of like leather and boots.
That's interesting. Yeah, which would be no, that's interesting because that's like I'm assuming you're a little bit younger than me, so that's
Oh, of
not what I
course.
associate with emo. That would be like I would associate something like with emo a little bit different.
Yeah, because I usually look at like the fashion based emo than the because it bleeds into music and
Right.
fashion and art just
Yeah,
in
and
itself.
the emo fashion I grew up with was pre leather. It was different. It was more like it would have been like corduroys and cardigans. That was emo. The emo I grew up with
Yeah.
because I grew up with like early '90s emo.
Dang. Yeah.
And the leather stuff, it's like I would associate that more with like early 2000s or something.
I feel like also like with music, like with heavy metal, it's like they make, especially like with the clothes and the aesthetic, they make like a visual representation of all the textures or like that you kind of feel within your brain, just like physically.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's
Like emo, it's like a direct representation. Like I wouldn't see it any other way.
huh.
Like
Yeah,
with the
that's interesting.
clothes. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
don't know. It's like it resonates in not just physically, you have like an emotional gauge to it too. It's just a lot.
it's interesting though. Like I said though, because like you're associate like you said you wouldn't see it any other way, and then my association is a little different. So it's like what came first? Like, are you seeing it that way because that's the way it's always been paired in tandem, or are you seeing it that way
Yeah.
because of
I feel
the
like it might start with like either music or fashion, like depending on what the person is interested in. Because if it's like fashion, then you're just gonna associate it with like a certain vibe of emo music. And that's what you would feel like. Because, like all emo music, not every single person who's alternative and likes emo music will like every single piece of music.
right?
I guess it's just how like certain music that I find emo resonates with me, and then that in correlation to like fashion, that's how I would see it. Maybe that's not how it is, but that's how I would see it.
Wait. Okay, so now I have an interesting question. Would either of you consider anyone who's emo? Would anything? Bleh, would it pop into your mind that someone who is emo, is Christian?
Yeah,
What about you,
Uh,
Paichi?
no.
that's actually kind of funny.
No. Okay. Because the thing is, right? Like with me, I wouldn't have considered it with Christianity until after I learned about Flyleaf and Evanescence, and also know a Christian emo on the internet. So I wouldn't have, and and this is where my complex thinking um
No, I get it.
gets me here is like whenever, and I think this is why I tend to not make associations that much, right? Like like you like Paichi, you mentioned how like you and you're probably just using it as an example, but like someone would think a person who listens to metal music is also going to be a skateboarder or something. I wouldn't make that association as much.
Well, I
I would
said
just
punk in particular.
yeah. But the thing is, like, I don't make those associations that much. I kind of treat like, and I treat it in isolation. Like someone likes anime, but I also know there's so much background on this individual that I haven't known about. So like,
It's also you like this is going to hinge a lot, and I don't like to typically say this, but it's relevant. I'm guessing I'm quite a bit older than you. And the associations with the cultures got much more pluralistic. Um,
true.
the so I'm gonna have that background information be very different for me. Like the only people growing up that like that skated around me, like they all listened to punk rock, like because that's where the culture came out of. Versus skating eventually got a lot more mainstream, and it included skating eventually got a lot more mainstream, and it included all kinds of subcultures of people. It just became something that, like, even just maybe people that came from just like an athletic background got into skating, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's that too.
Is it like associating like disco with skating? Like not skateboarding, but like roller skating.
I can't speak to that because I don't know too much about that culture, but
Yeah. Like people usually think of like the disco ball and skate with an afro. Like people will make those types of associations, especially if there's like a themed party. That's usually what you'll see, which isn't necessarily wrong, but it becomes a little stereotype.
I'm guessing even the music, like Jester, when you think of emo bands, like what are some emo bands that you would like name?
Fuck. I don't. I don't listen to bands that much,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
I don't think. Well, okay. I they're not emo, whatever. Or they're like no, well yeah, yeah. Escape the Fade is probably the only thing that pops. Oh, Cult to Follow. I remember that band helped me to get through middle school. That I remember that. But yeah, like that's probably the only thing I can think of. Versus like, I tend to listen to alt pop, so like, and they're usually women, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like Arya Abdul or like Sophia Zella or King Mala, which is like very much and their vibes are they're similar. You can consider them like Billie Eilish clones. So it's like but the thing is like Arya Abdul tends to sing about love and all that stuff in a very dark monotone way.
Hmm.
Or not monotone, melancholic. Yeah, melancholic. King Mala is more like processing whatever King Mala is more like processing whatever emotion there is. Um and then Sophia Zella is like very political, right? Like she thinks about feminism or whatever. So like it really so like I don't know. I don't know. Like with my songs that I listen to, it's very what's the word pluralistic a lot, and then I can't really pin it down. I can just say it's alt, but like it would have like a bunch of different subgenres within it,
Yeah.
depending on who it is. So I don't think I can really name an emo band other than like oh Fall Out Boy. I named yeah, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like Fall Out Boy.
No, I just asked because, like, yeah, because again, like, I mean, it's going to be hard for me to have similar associations because I'm a little bit older, so it's like I'm going to have very different. So we it would be hard for us to talk about it in a vacuum
right.
because we're gonna have even hearing the word is gonna evoke very different things, like like, very different associations. Because the emo I grew up with, if I played it to you, like I'm like, and I didn't tell you that I called it emo, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you would not call it emo at all. Like you wouldn't even recognize it as what you would.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
cultures do evolve, yeah.
yeah. So it's like yeah. So then it's
That kind
hard.
of reminds me of like the association with like goth and witchcraft.
Really, really.
Yeah. Because like in certain like movies and stuff like that, like the girl who's like wearing all black and stuff they would associate with and she's in a cemetery. Like just weird just stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, a big. I okay with goth. I can associate with that with like um uh coffins and stuff and
Yeah.
crosses and
I do think,
vultures.
yeah, I do think there's elements of goth like associations that are a little more pervasive than maybe something like emo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think no matter the goth like era, black is going to be pretty pervasive.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. Everyone's good.
It's that and lace
Yeah, I could see lace being there too.
and
Yeah,
corsets
yeah, yeah.
sometimes, depending.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the era, but I think like something like black was pretty prevalent because goth, it's like as a movement started pretty prevalent because goth, it's like as a movement started in like
The
the late,
Victorian area.
well, yeah, but I'm thinking I'm a real music oriented guy, so I'm thinking like musically it started in like the late 70s, um, and like even with that, like um, yeah, they were wearing black.
Like Morticia Adams.
And then they're wearing black later, like so.
And also with, well, Wednesday herself, yeah. I mean,
Oh then there's aspects of completely different cultural associations with goth. But yeah, Victorian associations, that's a whole different way of looking at goth. When I
yeah.
hear goth, I'm thinking of again, I relate everything to music because
Yeah, that makes
music
sense.
music is such a big part of my life. So it's like I relate everything to music. But
Yeah.
Okay.
I like different like patterns, textures, and colors. So like that's why I probably would relate it to like the fashion,
mm-hmm.
and then the people, and then they sing or dance
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay. So okay, so this just popped into a question in my head. Um why does like almost nobody seem to appreciate steampunk aesthetics? Like
I don't know. I don't know honestly. I personally like it, but I'm more of solar punk. But like you said earlier, you clocked me. Yeah, but steampunk, I really don't know.
because like I've always
My friend was
interested.
playing Bioshock, and he's into that.
I think it's pretty cool in movies. Like I'm interested in steampunk in movies. I'm not too interested in it from like a uh like just static visual art like paintings. Like I wouldn't be into like a steampunk like themed like still image. But from like a video perspective or a movie perspective, I would find it interesting just because like there's a lot to play with in respect to like the mechanics, like the actual like function of like machines, like with like cyberpunk and other things like incorporated. That's interesting to me. But the aesthetic from a static perspective, not too into.
Okay, so like may I ask like what is uninteresting of like the static picture of a steampunk aesthetic? Picture of a steampunk aesthetic.
I don't know. It just like doesn't do much for me visually. Like
I see.
if I'm seeing it move and like,
It's very bulky. I don't
yeah,
know
I just
how
don't.
to explain. It doesn't blend well when it comes, unless you're like somebody who's like into like mechanics.
Yeah, and
I feel
like
like it would just throw you off.
yeah, and like the style of like the way like a lot of that work is like rendered is not like art that I'm like super interested from a like a visual perspective. Like a lot of it tends to be very um heavy on like digital art and like graphic composite, and I'm not super into a lot of that kind of work. I'm more into analog like work, so like that's probably part of it. Um, and like evolving and adapting, like yeah,
Like
like
animated.
yeah, animated. When I see it animated, I think it's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that then I start to find it interesting.
Yeah, I understand that too. I feel
What
like
about
it's
like
like the difference between like a model between like a model walking on the runway and like on the front cover of something. Like most people are not gonna read a magazine and be like, "Oh yeah, you're on the front cover, that cool." But walking and letting them like animate the clothes and like
Right, you get a whole
it's
different.
just differently. It's a
Mhm.
different experience.
Yeah. I feel like true. Yeah, I feel like that's probably the difference between people that might understand fashion from a more intimate perspective. Like if you're so into it that you've like actually like took the time to go to like a major urban fashion show or something, You might have a completely different take on it than just yeah, seeing a picture of a weird outfit or something.
Or just like concerts. Like some people are okay with just listening to the music and not really engaging with like the people jumping on stage or like the instruments being played live. Like some people just don't care for that experience. They're just like, okay, I'll listen to it on Spotify when y'all get drop.
What about like cosplays and um like certain like objects a person can play with that cosplay with a steampunk aesthetic? Would that be different?
Um, Honestly, I feel like it would be like it would feel like it's coming to life because we really don't live in a steampunk world. So, I feel like it kind of challenges you a little bit if you're not somebody who's typically into steampunk, somebody wearing it and resonating with it a little bit would help understand a little better because then that's like human to human. But for like the art form itself, I don't know if I would really like understand it if that person didn't cosplay it or animate it in some way, shape, or form.
Fair enough.
Like neopunk is just too overstimulating for me. Too many colors. So like somebody who dressed like that, I would be like, go away. So, not in a bad way, just like I'm overstimulated. And then some people would think like solar punk. I like solar punk. It would be bland. Like okay, then just go
What?
outside.
How is solar punk bland? What?
Because it's a lot of like earth tones and stuff like that. Like if especially if you see like pictures of art that is solar punk.
But there's still tone.
I know, but like let's say somebody is into neo and they want hot pink and like basically your background. I mean this the background
Yeah,
prompt.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's say that wasn't a thing in solar punk. Somebody probably wouldn't be interested in it. They would think it's bland or they would want a more technological advanced world than solar punk because there is a little bit of limitation with solar punk because it's supposed to be in harmony with nature, so there's only so much you can do when it comes to technological advancements. But they're just like, yeah, fuck the world, let's party. So hey, I get it.
Sorry, I was on mute if anybody said anything to me.
You're good.
What is solar punk? I don't know what that is.
It's like the harmony. Well, it's an aesthetic that's like a harmony earth between earth and technology.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cultural
Think of
thing.
it like a greenhouse. It kind of looks like that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, the idea is like we can build a society where like we can have technology in harmony with nature. Something akin to that, like, have you heard of like this like moss that people have decided to play with as a replacement for cement? That's kind of like similar to what solar punk stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so there are actually even like more utilitarian concerns with it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
Like
that makes
it's like a
sense.
tree, like the feeling of a tree house instead of building like a house out of concrete.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Like,
sense.
yeah, maybe I'm obsessed with the Magic Tree House. You never know. I love those books when I was a kid.
Okay. Um, so we did two questions. So how does the aesthetic of cities affects us, right? Like when I go outside and see it, or go into like walking my block in the city, like how does the city's aesthetic would affect me or
I
affect
associate cities with people and too much.
me?
Too much. I'll get overstimulated. Or like cities are just like confusing. I'll just get lost.
Yeah, I. It's interesting because I didn't grow up in. I grew up in a really rural area, but now I live in a huge city. Um, and it was definitely confusing for me at first, but now I enjoy it. But it's like it definitely like was a little bit to get used to for sure. But I don't know as far as how they expect us or how they affect us. I don't know. It's like they affect us in so many
Do
ways.
they influence like certain personalities, like introvert and like extrovert?
There's like certain perceptual aspects of cities that are just so like even beyond like so like something like noise pollution in a city. Like when I'm at home in my attic and I have my cell phone volume cranked up, like I
Hmm.
can hear it the whole way across my 20-foot attic.
Hmm.
And when I go and I vend in NYC, even in a park, I can't. You can't hear it 5 feet away.
But
Like
also, I feel
literally,
like it makes you like being in a city makes you hyper aware of other people's lives too, because they're right
yeah,
next to you. So it's not like a foreign concept of somebody having like smecks upstairs or like somebody getting beat up or like the cop cars are driving past the block and everything. Like you're just so hyper aware of like society and like human the state of humanity. Or
yeah. I think you're
the
hyper aware, but you're dulled at the same time.
Mm,
Like again, like I said, because of like something like noise pollution to some extent. There's certain sounds and events and things going on that you're not going to be acutely aware of because in mass you're responding to like the amalgamation of it all versus like the individual sound, right?
yeah, that
Like
makes sense.
yeah, individual sound, right? You know,
Yeah, that
like
makes sense.
yeah,
Like my friends live in the city, so it's just like certain things that they don't notice, I notice because
right.
I live in a place where the only sound you're gonna hear are birds. And my friends on the phone that are from the city, they're hearing birds outside. They're like, "What the fuck is that? Tell those birds to shut up!" Like that's
Yeah,
annoying for them.
yeah,
But
like
when I
well,
hear
like
cop cars and sirens and ambulance at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm just like, brother.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That would be a big one that would affect you very differently than it would like now affect me.
Or people
Um,
screaming outside, just
like
no,
a yeah, exactly. Like a siren to me.
just
Like
no.
a yeah, exactly. Like a siren to me is just like it's just a sound. It's just like a city sound.
Or
Like
like the
it
train tracks, like if you live by like the metro, just like the train just
yeah.
bumping on the tracks, that's annoying for me.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, well, I live next to like an Amtrak style train, like an Amtrak style train. But like, yeah, it just doesn't even like. I hear it all the time. Like so it's yeah, it doesn't even register to me as anything like. But like in respect to like, it's interesting because yeah, like something like a siren to you. Not only are you gonna notice it, but you might have like you. Not only are you gonna notice it, but you might have like
I might be annoyed.
less yeah, and you might have you might have like more harmful associations like attached to it.
Because like healthy would be space for me. So I
Yeah,
would associate health with space, while some people would be health would be community and closer together.
yeah,
Community and closer together,
yeah.
which would drive that whole introvert. Um, I have the ability to be an introvert.
This is why like I find like aesthetics
Interesting.
yeah, like from a aesthetics like in a vacuum versus aesthetics in relationships. Um yeah, like if we had people in a um yeah, like if we had people in a tabula rasa, like a blank state, like if that existed, and then we were able to like cycle in the exact same sounds to the same like people all in tabula rasa, how they respond to it versus their own associations that they bring to the table with aesthetics, like
Yeah.
it changes things up a lot, like in how aesthetics are perceived.
Also, like with certain, I want to say with certain music, like with rap, right? Like the aesthetic is different. With certain music, like with rap, right? Like the aesthetic is different for like a lot of other genres where like everything is flexing and flex this, flex that to emulate wealth. But then when you see somebody's actually wealthy out and about outside, wealth is associated differently. Like they might be wearing cargo pants and just like a regular t-shirt and going to the store or something. It's just different.
Yeah.
Which is
So,
cool.
um, so like, but gee, like, well, so like at first the aesthetic of the city was like jarring, and then there was like 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 what were your first thoughts with the jarring aspect and how that process came about to a new perspective?
Yeah. I went from when I was like where I had lived for a while prior, well, both growing up and like prior to coming into a bigger city. I lived prior to coming into a bigger city. I lived in an area where visually there was a lot of expanse to it. So one of the biggest changes was one of the biggest changes was tall buildings blocking your view and creating a claustrophobic environment for me, you know? So I would say like my first waking up every day and walking around was much more claustrophobic than anything I was ever used to.
Hmm.
Right.
And then, but then there was a slow transition where, yeah, over time, I don't know how to explain it other than just like visually adapted to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It ceased to be jarring at some point and it turned into like just my landscape.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I just like got used to it.
So what do you associate landscape with?
Oh, I'm just talking about like my terrain, like whatever terrain. Yeah, I'm using landscape in a real general.
Oh, okay. Because I know
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people like with landscape just in general, like especially if it's like I want to say a mountain or like trees.
Right. Yeah,
They
that's
would
fun.
they
Yeah,
would
that's
they would be like scared, like isolation, depending on the person. But some people
nah.
would associate it with being like peaceful. Just
Right. No, I'm just using landscape to just be like
I know, just very general.
the general terrain. Yeah, that I'm surrounded by. So that's why the way I was using it. But yeah, I don't know like how to explain how I think given my career being a career that is more conducive like the urban environment is conducive to it too, just as like I because I'm able to thrive better in this environment like financially and artistically and creatively. I think those aspects of it like probably like lessened like the jarring impact as well as I became jarring impact as well as I became more associated with the community. Maybe then like the jarring maybe then like the jarring impact altogether like was reduced. But as far as like just like the visual impact of it, I don't know what to say other than it to the dark, you know? Like
I
Mhm.
see.
yeah, I just like
What
at first it
is
was hard to take because it was like
what
at first it
is
was hard to take because it was like blocking my vision and towering over me, and then eventually it just became less impactful when I was used to it. I don't know.
This okay. So the more I'm hearing about this, the more it seems like aesthetics and art and all of that seems to have a lot more to do with the engagement with the object rather than what the object to do with the engagement with the object rather than what the object actually is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like
No, no,
like
no. Yeah. Experience. Yeah.
That's why I love just
so okay. So then how would so so this is part of the reason why I have like that background up there. Like where does like style fit into this? Like what would that be and how does a person gain a sense of style? Right.
Well,
Like
before you go down that route, I wanted to bring something because I don't want to forget the thought, and then you can
yeah,
go.
go ahead.
But you're talking about how like it seems a lot of it has to do with like engagement, and I find that really interesting. So, because like say like aggressive music, I feel like a good deal, especially possibly older like public, associates like a lot of the more aggressive music with just like sort of rage simpliciter. But I grew up with very political aggressive music. So my engagement with it is very different because the bands that I grew up listening to when I was a teenager are all people that were writing like political treatises alongside this like super enraged, indecipherably like gargling vocals. But then you read the lyrics and they're like, inspired by like philosophy and Marxism and like so my engagement is very different with it. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because
Yeah.
you were saying that you were noticing like a difference in respect to engagement versus like just like the aesthetics themselves.
Right. And
Yeah.
then this is where I want to tie it to like style is like because like having a sense of style and probably not the only thing, but like it is something that we wear. It's something that we perceive on people and something we kind of gauge on personality to a certain extent, like associations you mentioned earlier, right? So like what is style and how does one gain it? But like it's um but in order to gain a sense of style, you need like some kind of engagement with the clothes that you wear and how you perceive people. So like so I guess to like answer the questions, but I imagine it's going to be something akin to similar of like context and association and then like how a person gains it and then how can some people break some of those like fundamental principles of style because like Billie Eilish wears baggy clothes and then like characters from Honkai Star Rail often have like asymmetry so like they kind of break certain principles but still have like this kind of personality to it so
I'm semi confused.
I'm sorry.
No. I get what you mean by like the Billie Eilish. Are you talking about like breaking like the norm of like the understanding and like how you associate certain things to other things?
No. So like Billie Eilish would like wear baggy clothes, right?
Hmm.
But normally, in order to like have stylish clothes, you would probably like wear something that's proportionate to your body. You would probably like wear something that's proportionate to your body.
Yeah.
So she breaks that rule, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Honkai Star Rail characters and then like all of Hoyoverse characters often use asymmetry, but they're not without some sense of style. But it works depending on like your taste. But that's besides the point.
Hey,
Like,
I got a jet, but thanks for having me up. And these are cool topics, man. I like discussing things that are like volatile all the time.
no,
Yeah.
no problem.
Shit that,
My
yeah, shit that
mission
gets us
right
to
now.
think without hating each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mission right now of except for like certain topics I have, is trying to like talk about everything except God and politics.
Yeah, I figured.
God and politics.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
figured.
thank goodness. Yeah, yeah. It's a way to prime our intellect without like it being so triggering for every single person.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
so yeah. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace.
Have a good day. Oh, night.
The thing is though, like I do have topics that will trigger people, but that's only if I'm filling up for it. Missy. But yeah. Hey, sir. But yeah, like well, before I get to Missy, like Cosmic, what are your thoughts on like what is style and how does one gain it? Or
I don't know. I feel like it's just like an outer expression of like the resonance and how things click within your brain a little bit. Um, I feel like that would be like um I feel like that would be like a sense of style. You're kind of dressing yourself with like the like physically, but it's like it aligns with like texture and color and stuff like that. It's like wearing your brain outside.
I was just about to say, style is wearing how you see yourself outside, which means I really like corsets and flowy dresses. I've also been really wanting to get some fake ears, so I have elf ears. And so I go out looking like a little elf princess every time I go anywhere. Because that's style. That's what I feel like on the inside, and so that's how I'm gonna share. That's what I feel like on the inside, and so that's how I'm gonna share myself.
That's actually really funny. That reminds me of like a Ren fair. I love seeing those on my For You.
My all of my wedding pictures, people always say I look like a fairy, and that's
For You.
my all of my wedding pictures, people always say I look like a fairy, and that's my goal. I've always been so whimsical. Fool, I have to tell you, I just came from an entire live. I'll have to upload, like render and upload the file of an hour where people were just being misogynistic to me for no reason.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I just let it go. I let them go. I was just asking, like, what did I do to you? And they just kept going. And then I was like, I
wait,
hope
wait,
you know I
wait,
got this
wait.
screen recorded.
Do you know the host?
She knows. I'm mod on his platform, so I asked him to let it go on.
Oh, okay, okay, that makes
No,
sense.
I had the chance to stop it and chose not to because I'm currently kind of trying to collect little pieces of anecdotal evidence to make potentially a video essay on misogyny
Ooh.
in male-dominated spaces and how we as women can both fight and support men to change the misogyny in these systems.
Right. But
Okay.
back to your elf, kind of like an elf, like a fairy type thing. It's either that or a mermaid. I always find those so cool.
That's fair. Did you have another question, Fool?
Um. So like, yeah. So like, oh, I guess you kind of answered. Like, how does like a person gain a sense of style? Like, how do I go from like not knowing what to put on to the process of like actually figuring out the clothes that both look good but also says me?
Hmm. Do you know yourself?
Uh, and I think I know more about myself than I did yesterday. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, introspection is important when it comes to.
I didn't have a sense of style until I realized that I had my own personality. And once I started doing that personality work and that system work, I realized that I was allowed to wear what I want and what makes me feel beautiful, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And so you gain a sense of style by recognizing, okay, this is what makes me happy wearing. This is what I like. So when you go shopping, you put something on. And if you don't like it, you're like, oh well. And then you put something on and you feel, maybe you feel handsome or beautiful or confident or just like you're that bitch. You're that guy. That's
I feel like it feels like when you're if I don't I feel like it feels like when you're if I don't know, it has that comfortability of like when you're laying down about to go to sleep. That's what it feels like for me. It just feels natural.
Hmm. Okay, so like, okay, so like, um, okay, whatever. Um, let me let me process.
I'm gonna make us a Discord server
Okay.
so that we can put like stuff in there.
Okay. W. Um. So like, so do you think an artistic sense is important for style,
Yes.
or I was
Yes.
afraid of that answer.
Having a strong sense of self is difficult and it takes a lot of work. Um, and so that's why I also think when you say what is style, I think style is different than fashion. And I think some people would use those interchangeably, but there's a difference.
Hmm.
Fashion is when someone feels comfortable and beautiful in what they're wearing and someone else looks at them and goes, style is I like how I feel. So I'm going to go against the grain. Like how I feel. So I'm going to go against the grain.
Yeah. Style is more of like a representation of self, and fashion is more of a representation of culture.
Yes.
Yeah. But in the ever changing
So
artistry of like clothing.
okay, so if I wear something that I like, and then other people validate that, that would be style still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but but I'm being validated. Okay, but I'm being validated for who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if your sense of style was a tuxedo and you went out everywhere in a tuxedo and people were like, how if your if yeah, but if your style was, let's say, and let's just say this is all very very het cis het community, right? Like it's just a lot easier, right? If you have a coworker with a bunch of men and you show up in a suit and tie and you feel comfortable and that's your style, then you're going to get validation. That is a sense of style still. But if you also really enjoy wearing style still, but if you also really enjoy wearing like dresses and you were to show up to work with in a dress, right, you would probably get criticized, even though that is still a style.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Also, there's someone in the comments. If you have since I did see your system, so if you want help or need just like cheap tools, I am a mentalist, my psychiatrist. I work with companies actually, like nonprofits, to try to get mental health to people that need it. This is a very big part of it for me. So if anyone needs it, guy in the bottom, um, I, feel free, reach out. Always here. How many times do you think you've heard that from me, Jester?
Probably a lot, but
How many times do you think you'll hear it again?
probably a lot more. But it's okay.
It's important.
Okay,
I'm doing good
promise.
work. My therapist, she was like, I think you're doing what you're doing is just as important as what I'm doing. And I cried like a child. I started weeping.
Okay, so let's say I see a character that I like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I try to like embody some of the principles that character has.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I would also have like a similar style, But assuming it's still normal clothes, but like you wouldn't tell the difference. I'm like quote unquote cosplaying them. Um, would that be fashion or style?
When you mean like
I think
if
it'll
you
be a
were to,
mixture of both.
it, for
Because I'm
me,
mimicking a.
fashion. So the distinction for me is style. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
It's not geometry, none of that.
Which one? Which one is rectangle? Which one is the square?
The rectangle is style, the square is fashion.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
You can have style and you can have fashion, but you cannot have fashion alone.
okay, okay. I'm following. I'm following.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So even so, if I'm just copying a character, and then it's the character I'm resonating with, it's both a fashion and a style. I
Yes, it could be. If it was the character, I would say it's more of a fashion or a style. If it was more of like a trend, so like, polka dot shirts, right? And you were to follow that, that would be fashion.
so
Like,
okay.
I forgot. Is it the show The Nanny?
I have no fucking clue. I don't watch
Yeah,
anything
you
but
know
Oh,
what I
anime.
mean.
but do you know what I mean? Like, she has a certain sense of style, and they will relate that show to that certain sense of style.
Sorry, I just had to chug some sweet tea. Oh, you ever realize how thirsty you are as you're drinking?
Oh my gosh.
No, dude, Jester, he called me a psychopath. He called me a narcissist. He called me nothing. He said I was the scum of the earth. I can't wait to share, like, the earth. I can't wait to share, like, to crop it up and share it with everyone. I'm
Oh,
so excited.
Oh
that's
wait,
important.
who 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 was it that been like talking
Das,
smack?
DAS, Das. And then there was one other guy who was treating me really nicely. Um, and like asking me for my Snapchat, asking me for my
What?
number, just being overall kind of creepy. And so I was just ignoring it until eventually he was like, "Oh, I guess you just can't handle it." And so I was like, "No, I'm married. That's creepy. Please stop." Um, and then they that's creepy. Please stop. Um, and then they all started jumping on me. And they were like, he was, well, he had said, "Oh, you've never actually been through anything. You're this white girl that's had this, cookie cutter life. So you don't really get to speak to anything." And without him knowing, my story. And I'm like, "I do have a story and I don't have to tell you it." Um, he's like, "Of course you won't because you don't actually have anything." So I go in a little bit of my background, which you know some of. And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure you do. I don't believe you. You're a liar. You're a psychopath. You're a sociopath."
God, ew.
It was insane, dude. I love my husband. In Apex, he gets loud.
Oh yeah, Apex. Yeah, I get it.
The thing is the other games aren't nearly as loud. It's Apex where I'm like, I know you're
Because
playing
Apex, you
this.
don't get any help.
Well, he plays with his friends.
Yeah, sometimes they don't help either. Honestly, I
I
play
can't
with
wait to
my
share it,
friends, and
Jester.
they do not help.
I want you to see it. I don't know if it's like I feel like maybe I feel like I have this need for validation that I'm not, even though I know I'm not, and I can validate myself on that. So maybe I shouldn't share it with other people, and I should just validate myself instead.
Well, I mean, external validation isn't bad.
Yeah,
Correct,
it's not.
but I don't think
Sometimes,
it should be necessary.
Right, of
Maybe I'll
course.
sit with it for a minute. But the thing is like it really doesn't bother me. I know he's mad at other women and he just happens to be taking it out on me because the whole time I asked, "What did I do to you?" And he said, "Nothing." "What did I do to you?" He's like, "Nothing." I was like, "Then why?" He said, "Because you're nothing."
sometimes it's like to share it. It's just like the resonance you have with other women, not necessarily that you need the
Hmm.
validation, but to make sure that other people don't feel like they're crazy.
I'm
Because some
sorry, I
people,
didn't mean you to make you change the prompt.
no,
No,
If
because
it's
you
fine.
still
It's
people,
wanted to
fine.
talk about, if you want to talk about style, we still can. I'm sorry.
No,
If
because
it's
you
fine.
still
people,
It's
wanted to
fine.
talk about, if you want to talk about style, we still can. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no.
um,
It's fine. It's fine.
but also some people are
Honestly,
gaslit. So yeah.
honestly, I couldn't come up with any other question for it anyways. So that's fine. I couldn't come up with any other question for it anyways. So that's fine.
Yeah, no, I just had like a shit ton of misogyny thrown at me. And so it's funny. I I get a lot of flack from feminists and I get a lot of flack from misogynists. Boost.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm
I mean,
just
you have to
trying to
understand that
be
there's still
nice.
boxes.
I know, but it's I like because when people are in like discussions with men and then they completely invalidate them or say like, hey, there's no problem going on with men's issues, I'm like, that's not right. And then when men are like, well, women don't have any issues, I'm like, well, that's not right.
Hmm.
I'm like, we each have individual issues. We should probably like, I don't know, work together to figure it out. And then
Yeah,
people
but
are like,
yeah, on both sides is extreme. So of
and
course,
on both sides, they're like, shock. I would never. I'm like, it's like and as a woman, I am terrified of men. I get it.
hmm
And it's hard, and I understand that if I want to make sure my daughter doesn't fear that, I have to impact as many men in my life as physically possible, and I have to encourage as many women to do the same.
so okay, my perspective on that thing. Okay, my perspective on that thing. Um, I often like, and this can like work with any person of privilege or what, any person of privilege or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like just because I like for example, like I'm a dude, I'm half white, so I have a, and then like right, just because I have privilege, that doesn't mean things don't affect me, right?
Yep.
Privilege just simply I can be means I can be a certain thing as long as I fit inside that box. As
Hmm.
long as I look masculine, I have all the benefits that society tells me. Or at least that's what society tries to sell to me. Which is not the case, obviously, right?
Mm.
But
Yeah.
but doesn't, just because of that illusion alone, that would still impact how my friends would see me. Um, but like I'm in a weird spot, so that kind of thing doesn't really affect me. But like in the case that would affect me, I would probably have like male friends who would be. This isn't true, but like for the sake of a hypothetical, I might have a bunch of male friends who like want to like masculinize myself or whatever and everything.
Hmm.
Um, so like yeah, so even if that illusion that I'll get everything that I wanted as long as I masculinize myself, um, it would still be relying on external validation. It would still affect me mentally, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But that just, but me having power does not equate not having going through shit. So I think if you explain it that way, I feel like
Yeah.
you might have more of a leniency compared to, well, unless you have and that didn't work out, then ignore me. But if you haven't, I think you probably have like a lot more leeway because you're coming from, okay, yeah, you go through some shit, but power doesn't equal uh mental stability, right?
Well,
Uh,
I mean, power isn't, men aren't more powerful than women, just like women aren't more powerful than men. Because power, I love Game of Thrones. Y'all know the scene?
oh yeah, power is an illusion.
Yeah. There's a rich man, a king, and a priest all stand in a room, a sellsword, and each tries to bid the sellsword to kill the other two, or to unalive the other two. And what would the sellsword choose? And he's like, well, I don't know. He's like, if it's sellswords that hold the power of life and unalivement, um, then why do we pretend that kings hold all the power? Why do we think that? So power is it's an illusion.
Hmm.
It's not real.
But okay, and this is but the thing is though, right? A very small man can cast a very large shadow. The
Mm,
illusion works well enough for things to be affected.
yes.
So like for me, right, like it doesn't matter if power is an illusion. Power is real enough for it to be a thing. And then
Well,
this is
yeah,
why
as a pragmat.
but yeah,
Also,
so
I hope you know I'm leaning so much. I really want to know what. I hope you know I'm leaning so much. I really want to know what like what you think, because I think I'm a pragmatist. I just don't think I knew that.
I'll send you a video and then did you join Jordan's Discord yet? Because like he
Yes, I
holds
did.
okay, yeah, so like he holds like a pragmatist
Well,
thought. And
well,
then
I
right
was also
now the
I
live
was just gonna make a Discord for like you, Gil, Machine Elf, all of our peeps, and then as we gain more, I guess, as
okay,
we get
cool.
more safe
Yeah,
people,
totally.
because I
Totally.
want it safe
Yeah,
people,
totally.
because I
Totally.
want
And
it to be a
so
very safe space on TikTok, you know what I mean?
I'll listen, I'm sifting through like people for Jordan, so I'll be your guy if we I've been told I'm a really good judge of character. Um
I also I liked you the moment I met you, and there's a reason that that is the case.
but what was I saying? But yeah, like I think power is real enough for it to affect society. So
Hmm.
in that sense, I would still argue like white privilege or male masculinity. I'm sure there's like gradient um pieces there a
Hmm.
little bit, but like I still think generally speaking like there is like that underlying level of influence. And yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and I think I have had to unwind the idea of power within myself, and I think it's something someone just does, kind of thing.
I see.
I don't know if that makes sense.
I see.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like I had to come to terms with the fact that yes, the men in my lives were more physically powerful than me. They could do what they wanted. But I had mental power and a mental they could do what they wanted. But I had mental power and a mental fortitude that they didn't. And so once I realized that power is just skill or just what one is good at.
I think, and then I'm kind of in a similar boat with you, but I think the difference with me is that with power is a lot more broad. The difference with me is that with power is a lot more broad. Um, the reason I say that is because a lot of my stuff, despite of me being the youngest in my family, is instead of hand me downs, we do hand me ups, right? Like my clothing is given to my older brothers or whatever because we have like um despite everything that's going on in America, we have like options with our clothes. Despite everything that's going on in America, we have like options with our clothes and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And then so I kind of realized like with the exception of my dad's side of my family, a lot of my mom's side of the family, especially when I was younger, relied on us for money a lot of the time. And then
Mm,
it would annoy me a little bit with my mom trying to constantly connect with the toxic people in my family
hmm.
specifically. So then I kind of just realized like if I get in my lexicon would be something that can like influence, right? Not necessarily scare.
Mm, hmm. Hmm.
So like with me, it would be like um I have this influence. I have the choice to give you this cash or not. I have the choice to give you this cash or not. I have the choice to give my aunt money or not. I have that option. And so I have that decision to influence that or not. So I guess with me, it's more about, in a sense, luck with what
Mm.
I'm given and only recognizing and accepting that. Because, and also the reason why I have to go through this route too is because I used to be so afraid of being a being a person in charge. So for me, it's a lot
Mm.
more easier for me to like accept the fact that I have influence over gaining influence, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Mhm. No, well, the fact that you are even thoughtful and aware of that, dude, I forget how stupid people are until I go out. Like, I went out to Walmart today and I'm like, man, these people have never heard the word epistemology before in their life. Right? So, but you're thinking about that, and I think that that shows a level of um, intellectual respect for it and for your influence and quote unquote power. I wouldn't call it power, but that
Yeah,
influence,
that's fair.
that power that you have, right? Uh, in which I could say by your lexicon, right? Then I could say my power. In which I could say by your lexicon, right? Then I could say my power of spreading mental health positivity, right? That's my power,
Mm,
or something like that. But for me, that's just a skill.
right, right.
Yeah.
And then like that's also part of the reason I have the like second question up there is like, can you handle the weight of your choices in such a position, right? Um,
Hmm.
so like, and then like, okay, most of my topics is like very introspective stuff for me, to be honest. But
Fair.
but like, yeah, that's why I have that second question is like, if you're in a position like, and I often think if you ask someone a would you rather questions, if they're capable of answering that, I think they have leadership skills. And this is my
Uh oh.
personal opinion. This is my
Uh
personal
oh.
opinion. But I think they have leadership skills when they can actually make a decision versus a person who tries to find the third option, right? Not to say a
I'm
third option
immediate.
but not to say a third option isn't bad or whatever. It's just that they
Hmm.
can't make a decision when they're in a confined situation within reality, and that to me seems like if you can answer a would you rather question, you can probably have a better leadership skills than the person who doesn't. Because oftentimes when you are in a leadership, you're very much confined into reality. Um, I think
I would agree because you can ask me any would you rather question and I'll immediately know which one I'll choose. And B, I have been in many leadership positions and I hold myself to be a somewhat leader. But I don't hold myself as someone with influence or power.
Uh, okay, Boongo Stray Dogs, okay. And if you watch it, you're probably gonna judge me, so dogs, okay. And if you watch it, you're probably gonna judge me, so don't bother watching it.
No, I've seen part of Bungo Stray Dogs. I tried. It's my one of my best friends and favorite animes and the brother sister thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
was like,
know, I know, I know, I
I'm
know.
good.
I know, I know, I know, I know. That's completely
But
fair.
it's a
That's
Japanese. Completely don't judge you for it. In fact, I would love to hear more about
but
what animes you watch.
okay, okay. But but like, and here's the deal. Actually, the funny story is when I saw that, I decided to quit watching it. But until people were talking about the other characters, I decided to push through so I can learn about the other characters. And I'm glad I did through so I can learn about the other characters. And I'm glad I
Fair.
did.
No, that's what everyone says. It's something that I plan on doing eventually. But right now, I have so much cool media to consume and so many cool new friends. But right now, I have so much cool media to consume and so many cool new friends to. I just don't. It's on a back burner, you know.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. But the leader of the port MAFI, the other characters, where basically he says a leader both holds authority and is servant to the group, right? And so you're not right, And so you're not just
Yes.
you're not just confined by like outside forces or like economic issues or whatever. You're also confined by how society views you and what choices that satisfies them. So
Why
you
leaders need to have a high emotional intelligence
right, unlike
because they need to be able to understand who they're leading, right? When I was a manager at a restaurant, I knew what employee needed what to do what when they needed it.
right,
That's
like
a leadership bit, you know?
right,
That's
like
a leadership thing.
yeah. Like but you also need to let people know that you are the authority, regardless, right? Too.
Yes. But
So
there's a way to do that. There's a way to do that respectfully, and it's by
yeah, of
if you
course,
gain respect, you don't need to use
right.
authority.
That's
There's
so
no such like yeah, like I I don't treat people with authority. If someone's older than me and they come up to me and they treat me horribly, I don't care that you're 50 something. But if you give me respect and you earn my respect, it doesn't matter if you're my leader. If you say, "Hey, you're doing this wrong," you have my respect.
But I'm saying like, um, in terms of like, if you're an authority and then someone does something like something morally wrong, right? Let's say morally wrong, right? Let's say,
Hmm.
um, at that point you need to like, not you don't have to be abusive about it, but like you need to like hammer down, hey, stop or something, or stop or something, or
Well,
this
it's
X punishment.
assertiveness.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to be assertive, but assertive doesn't necessarily mean, I'm trying to think of what the word is. Like when you've seen me when things get
Yeah.
pretty heated in debates, I am very assertive. I am direct. I am to the point. But I like that. That's a really cool skill.
Right. Like, yeah, and that's what I mean. Is like you need to be able to show that you mean business,
Hmm.
but also show that you are human, kind of at the same time, or
Yeah, I mean
context
it's
dependent,
it's
or whatever.
I think of the people that I've looked up to the most in my life, right? The people that I would like if they told me to jump, I would say how high. And it was never someone who said, I have power over you. It was always someone who said, I love and respect you. And I think that if there is power, is held in love more than anything else.
Mm, recommend um watch Doctor Mick. Cosmic. I'll probably end like pretty soon. Um, like maybe like uh, I can't do math. What's 5 plus 3? 8. Like 8 minutes? I guess. I don't know. Fuck it. Fuck math.
Is it going to be at 30? Because that would be 7 minutes from now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, 7 minutes. But
Good.
I would watch Doctor Mick playing. I would watch Doctor Mick playing Wolf Among Us because he ended up making decisions. Granted, it's a video game, but
Uh-huh. I love Among Us. Hilarious. Fun.
no, Wolf Among Us. It's a Telltale game.
Wolf?
Yeah. It's a Telltale game.
Oh, I love Telltale games.
Yeah. But Dr. Mick, he made certain decisions I did not expect a psychologist would make. I'm gonna, I'm gonna be
Really?
honest. Expect a psychologist would make. I'm gonna, I'm gonna be
Really?
honest.
Wait, no, I
Yeah.
feel like I have to play it first and then watch it
Oh yeah,
because
that's fair.
like if it's a Telltale game, like I'll probably just want to anyway. Um, but
Okay.
right now I don't have time for anything.
Okay.
I'm
But like,
sorry.
okay. But I'll just say this then. He ended up making a decision where it harmed 40.
How tense was the situation?
Very tense. Very tense.
Then there are situations where if okay, I have worked in restaurants before, and so I have given Narcan and had to call the ambulance multiple times, right? This is, I've lived around addicts. Been, I've been, I've been through the ringer. And when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are in those times of stress where people don't know what to do, and you do, I have had to pinch people. I have had to slap someone on the arm. Sure, it's small, but what it does is it introduces tap in their faces, making a loud sound. Very rarely do I smack someone, but if like if there's someone near me, like I'll say like I'll slap them and I'll say call 911.
okay. So like,
Like you have to be authoritative in those situations because someone's life is on the line.
right, all
If it's
right.
in that, yeah, if it's that situation, you have to.
So like, it's very much context dependent on the situation. But generally speaking, if you can get away with not the situation, but generally speaking, if you can get away with not being um authoritative, then you just go with like
Hmm.
assertion or something like that. Something like
Hmm.
softer, but you mean business or whatever the
So
case.
I think it's really interesting. One of my favorite things learning about psychology was authoritative parenting versus authoritarian parenting. Authoritative is high boundaries, high emotional communication, and authoritative is high boundaries, low emotional communication. And authoritative is high boundaries, low emotional communication. And I think that kind of touches on something. I don't remember what we were talking about now because my brain doesn't work. But
um, and
yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
so yeah, so like since
Also, if
you,
it's something you would rather Discord me, you can do that too.
I mean, like, I prefer to do it on here, but
Okay,
like, and I since you had
okay.
like, and I since you had experience, I assume you can handle this choices, can
Yes,
handle the weight of choices in such a
yes,
position.
yes. Yeah,
So like,
for sure.
so in situations where like you had to lead, was there any choices that you like kind of regretted, or
So I'm trying
let
to
me know
think.
if it's too intense?
No, so I can think of things, but they're not necessarily when I was in a position of leadership over others, but more when I was in a position of leadership over myself,
I see.
right? Right? Um, there have been some choices that I've made that I regret, but I wouldn't necessarily that's within a leadership context. I loved managing at this pizza restaurant. I was in my early 20s, like 19, 20, 21 restaurant. I was in my early 20s, like 19, 20, 21-ish. And I was working with a bunch of high schoolers, right? So I was, of course, everyone's favorite manager. I'm, Missy, the cool, like fun, chillax, but they all loved and respected me, right? And they worked the best for me because I loved every single one of them. Oh, I love them so much. Anyway, um, there was one situation in which one of the employees got a little too comfortable with me as a manager and wanted to pretend to throw a punch. It was playful, it was meant to be as a funny gesture. And
E-
I am, me, I'm very fun and caregoing. I looked him dead in the eyes. I said, "Don't you dare do that again." Have I? One of my employees' head snaps to me, and he says, "I'm sorry." I said, "I understand. I'm gonna go in the office to cool off for a bit. You stay out here." And he comes back later, and he's like, "Do you want a hug?" And this is what I regret. And then I go off on him. I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean do I want a hug? You almost just hit me. I go off on him. I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean do I want a hug? You almost just hit me. I almost reacted and hit you back like you don't know my shit." Da, 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 da. I regret that.
Okay.
But that was made in anger.
Right.
But when you are in a position of leadership, you cannot let your emotions control you in that way.
Right.
You
Right.
just
Right.
can't. When that happens, that's when those mistakes are made.
Right. Right. And then real quickly, before I end, did real quickly, before I end, did did, did any of them kind of like understand your situation, or was it like, oh, like,
Um, the employee,
yeah, yeah, the employee who like tried to punch you, like, did he like,
he understood. He came up to me, he apologized. He said, I really didn't. I really wasn't thinking. I saw you as just another one of my. I really wasn't thinking. I saw you as just another one of my, employee friends, and I did get a little carried away with myself, and I said, I forgive you. I completely understand. In the future, here's the steps that we can take to make sure this doesn't happen. I was like, hey, it was this that bothered me, and this that bothered me that didn't make it okay.
I see.
Um,
So
can you
like,
ask the question again so I can finish it?